Hello guys, how's it going? Okay, so some people taking a stance or being impartial. I had to stop for this one and take a bit of a pause because it's kind of a deep thing where I guess a lot of people believe that they are being impartial, but they're not really. Some people, they just have a lot going on in their lives and they don't want to deal with a lot of people's problems, so they're willing to lend an ear and just listen to both sides and just not make any comment. But then there's also the fact that sometimes you really have to get involved, even if it's, some people think, oh, it's none of my business and all that, but the other thing is it's also for the benefit of others. And sometimes I say, you can help someone as much as you can, and then, they have to do it themselves. But there's other times when you just need to say something, and it's for their benefit. It's never pleasant. I mean, I've done it where, the timing is crap, everything's crap. I could have not said anything, but then some of the things that you need to say, particularly when it's someone that you love and care about, they just have to be said, because not knowing or not realizing can be worse, and they're actually more upset that you didn't tell them, such as, no, you really are being a douchebag, no, you're being completely unfair, what is it with that, all that, a lot of what you're doing is in effect not a very good thing. It can be hard to be impartial, but it's also hard taking a stance. And taking a stance means that you are going to be living up to your principles, and it's a hard thing. Principles, particularly when they're not flexible and spongy. Like I keep going on about how somebody has a strength of character. It means that you are willing to stand by your principles and not make your principles flexible, which is different from being in context, okay? Some people say, oh, but is it? No, it's not. And I'm like, well, it kind of is, because your principles are things that you should guide you. You shouldn't be guiding your principles. You use your principles to guide you through life. Sure, you can reassess what you've believed in, fine-tune it and stuff like that, but you don't make your principles, what you are inside, the things that make you aspire and inspire you. They may change again, different situations and contexts, but that inner you, for some people, they're like, oh, I don't gossip. And I'm like, well, you're human. You gossip. It depends to me on whether it's malicious or not, or whether it's unfounded or not. And quite often gossip is. And people say, oh, I heard this, and these people do that. And goes, well, have you talked to these people? Oh, well, I've met them once. Have you talked to them and had an in-depth conversation with them? There are plenty of people around who I don't agree with on a lot of issues, but in essence, I can see that they're good people and they do good in the world. And there's a lot of people who are good, or who seem bad, but I can see what input they bring. And then there are other people who people believe are good, and then I can see nothing but bad. That could be just a personal thing. But the other thing I'm trying to get at here with being impartial or taking a stand is that even though people think that you think that you're being impartial, you are actually taking a stance based on your principles. And you've got to ask yourself, are those principles, am I bending them so that I can't be bothered with taking a stance? Or is that a part of my stance in that I am being exactly fair to everybody? And there are times when you'll call that into question, and when you think, I've got to say something, but no, it'll cause too much dramas. The thing is, standing by principles will cause dramas for people and for you. It is not easy to do. So I do encourage people to stand by their own principles and live by them. whatever that is, good or bad, at least you're being true to yourself. The trick is finding yourself, the person you want to be. That will change, that is okay. And some people that you may or may not leave behind can have an issue with that, and so will cause dramas. But it's you got to live with 24/7, you know. So think about that. Are you living true to your principles? Are you really being impartial? Is there a way that you could better your impartiality by, you know, smacking both sides of the head or all sides of the head over the, you know, issue, saying, you know, guys, get a grip, just stop it. Anyways, the other thing is, the impression is that some people that believe that they're being impartial are actually, like as I said, taking a stance, and that can reflect not so well on them, is that they get the reputation of just not being strong in their principles, I guess. Because there's some people I know that do in general remain partial, but on a few issues they will arc up and say, look, I don't agree with this, but I'm defending their right to have that opinion, that point of view, or do those actions, because it's not illegal, it's not hurting people, and what you're doing, ultimately the method that you're doing, like say bandwagoning or, you know, maliciously spreading rumors just to, you know, get one up on somebody, that is what I object to as a principle. Even though you may be right, there are other ways and better ways, much better ways of going around and doing things. But hey, you know, again, they're going to have to live with themselves and what they're doing. If they're going to keep on doing it, they're going to keep on doing it. And you can go, hey, look, that's bad. And if they don't listen to you, they don't listen to you, you know. Anyway, so what are you impartial on, or you try to be impartial on? What have you seen other people be impartial to? How are they taking a stance? Are you taking a stance? What will you take a stance on? What will you be impartial to? When will you start to interfere? You know, when will you call people on their shit? Are you calling people on their shit? And some people I know that are calling people on their shit when it comes to particularly them are really just insecure. So anyways, I'll leave that thought with you today, and I'll get on with it. I had to stop for this one. There's a bit of thought involved, a bit of sort of mind brain thing going on, and I didn't want to bump into anybody when I was walking. Okay, love you guys, see ya.